got my main man. This is crazy because I knew this kid since I was like 8, 9 years old, something like that. My main man's been a coach at St. John's University. Just a serial entrepreneur, from having a food truck to running Wednesday basketball tournaments to selling cars off the lot, brand new paper tags, everything he got it. One of my actual favorite basketball players of all time, my main man, Dave Bucknor.
What's up, man? Good evening. Good evening, everybody. Shout out to my main man, Dante Harrison, man, my college teammate on the line. I see you, man. Appreciate you pulling up. Yeah, he also Harlem Globetrotter. Shout out to him, man.
Oh, snap. Harlem Globetrotter in the building. That's what's up, Dante. Nice to have you, brother.
Thank you.
If you've never been here before, my name is Coach PJ. The locker room, like I said, it's only 2 rules in the locker room ever. The first rule in the locker room is this is not a classroom. We just here to chill, talk basketball, talk sports, give kids an outlet to just relax and let them be themselves. And the second rule to the locker room is bring somebody with you. That's it, man. That's it. You know, just bring people with you, have everybody have fun, and we're gonna sit and mac. First, I want to open it up by saying, yo, how was everybody's weekend? Zach, how was your weekend, man? You got a full weekend, Zach? Zach in his zone. You had a full weekend. How was your weekend?
It looked like he's still muted.
Yeah, probably. He off and on. All right, we'll get to him. We'll get to him. But yo, Dave, nice to have you, bro. Like, how's you been? How's basketball? The state of it altogether. How you dealing with it? How you like it?
It's a rough time, man. Now, and a lot of the kids is frustrating. I coach high school basketball at St. John's Preparatory High School. I actually had 2 or 3 student athletes that were actually being recruited by Division I colleges. At this point in time, they're not able to get any type of exposure. You know, every Christmas we participate in the Tim Thomas Christmas tournament, which is a great platform for the student athletes in New Jersey. We weren't able to participate in that. We had about 2 or 3 other tournaments that we participate in that would give these kids some exposure. So right now my seniors are pretty much stuck, you know. So we're just trying to figure out different ways to get them exposure, whether it's putting together, video reels and, video of them training and things like that, just to get them, prepared for the next level.
Yo, that's funny because as times as we was on this show, we never really spoken about like the mental health of the kids, like how are they taking the lack of basketball?
Basketball is, it's always been a way to exert positive and negative energy. So if things are not going well in your life, you're able to pick up a basketball and take out your frustration on that activity itself. It gives you an opportunity to bond with friends. It gives you an opportunity to participate and, and do different things. So for the most part, a lot of the kids are frustrated. Their focus is redirected, sometimes not in the right direction. So I just try to keep them positive, throughout the time. It's rough time.
You definitely got to keep them positive, man, because it's real easy for them to get distracted, and distractions is something that we definitely, don't want these kids to get away from the game of basketball, because we all know what happens when you get away from the game, man. You get into this dark hole, and anything can kind of take over. So what is there any kind of particular timeline that is set for these high school kids or no?
Unfortunately, there's no timeline, man. Just think about a whole year without basketball. So we're talking about
crazy.
We're talking about the high school level. Think about the college level. Think about the student athletes that have the opportunity to play in March Madness, that were able to be diaper dandies and sneak into the draft. Those kids missed out on that window and that opportunity, for that type of exposure. So it's affecting not only at this level, but at many other levels as well. The NBA level, you can't have fans. You're limited to the amount of people that are in seats in some states. So
right.
It really changed the whole dynamics of basketball as a whole.
Yeah, that's true. Well, let's shift gears real quick, because I did spend a lot of time talking to kids throughout the weekend in the locker room about street basketball, man. I know over the summer you did the Queens Day tournament, and that was pretty cool because you was able to be outside and still host it, and it was a safer situation. So so let's talk to them a little bit about outside hoops, man. Let's talk about the And1 mixtape itself. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
When that dropped, we was in what, junior high school when the first mixtape came out?
well, and one mixtape really changed the way that we view basketball. We put a little bit more flair and flash. And Dante Harrison being on the line, he can tell you that a lot of the and one stem from the grassroots of the Harlem Globetrotters. So
Oh yeah,
a
we
lot.
gotta talk about that, man. I'm excited.
Yeah.
So, so
Word.
a lot of the tricks that you've seen, throughout the years through Skip Rafe Alston, who was able to, sneak into the NBA and further his career, professionally. But there's a lot of great rest in peace to Escalade,
Word. Rest in peace to
list,
Escalade. Rest in peace
the,
to
the
Ali Mo.
Ali Mo, the list goes on. Um, and one is just street basketball that gave athletes another platform. So if you weren't able to play in the league or overseas, you were still able to go to the Rucker Park, West Fourth, Kingdom, you know, all these dairy farms, and still make a
Yeah,
name for yourself. So, and one has been influential throughout the years. And then, there were other companies that came after it, like Ball Up and stuff like that. So it gave athletes another platform, to get out there.
yeah, definitely. So Dante, man, talk to us about how do you guys ever speak about how the N1 mixtape and all of those playground moves came from the Harlem Globetrotters? Is that ever a topic of conversation?
Not really, not really. But I know me personally growing up, definitely and one mixtape had a big impact, for me just because it was everywhere, in my community. I grew up
Right,
in East New York, Brooklyn,
right.
so, at the time I wasn't going to, Madison Square Garden to go see the Harlem Globetrotters and stuff like that.
Right.
It was more about the Rucker Park where you can, climb the gate and get a glimpse of it.
Yeah.
So it was more accessible, for me at the time growing up. And then once they came out with the mixtape, I just remember me and my boys, we was just in there, watching the tapes and doing all the tricks and stuff. We didn't
Oh,
even need a hoop. It was all
yeah,
about
word.
learning
We was just
the
broke, man. I remember when that thing
moves.
came out, and my boy
Yeah.
Nick Ennis, Buck, I remember Nick. He pulled
Yeah,
me to the side, and he went into his book bag. He was in junior high school, and he pulled it out, and he was just like, "Yo, Pete, you gotta see this, man. This is crazy."
gotta
And I'm
see
like,
it.
"Oh, what
Gotta
is
see
this?"
it.
And
Yeah,
even
the whole
YouTube,
landscape.
YouTube wasn't even popping either. So it
Word.
was like, you had to get the tapes, So we definitely collected all the tapes, and if and then you go out to the park to go, practice your skills and stuff, and when somebody's been watching them tapes.
Yeah,
I know
right.
even Dave was another fancy dribbling one. I remember his game,
Yeah,
like his
yeah.
game was heavily influenced. I know probably by the tapes and stuff like that, because he
Oh,
always had
exactly.
handles and stuff. And
Oh snap!
even
Hold
for
on,
Right.
me,
hold on. We got a birthday in the building. Yo, Zach, I feel like you had like 5 birthdays, man.
No, nah. Today's
So
my
look,
birthday.
so how old you turn today?
I'm 14.
Ah, the big 1-4. All right, if you're in a place to
It's
sing
my
happy
last.
birthday to Zach, I want y'all to join in with me so we can sing Zach of Bracketville happy birthday.
It's
One,
my last
two,
birthday.
three. Happy
Happy
birthday
birthday
To
to
you.
to
you.
you.
Terrible.
Happy
Happy
birthday
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 to
to
you.
to
you.
you.
DJ.
Happy
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 birthday,
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 dear
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 Zach.
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 Happy
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 birthday
birthday
Day
birthday
to
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 you.
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 Happy birthday, Zach.
Oh,
Happy
Zach,
happy
happy
birthday,
birthday,
Zach.
man.
Happy birthday, Zach.
Thanks. Thanks, man.
Word. So, Zach, were you able to
Happy
check out
14th birthday, Zach.
So for the young scholars on the line, right? PJ was talking about our era where we didn't have YouTube, we didn't have access to DVDs and all those things that you guys are fortunate to have. And if you didn't have the hard copy, which was a VHS, you guys
right,
still may not even know what that is. If you weren't able to
right.
get the hard copy of the And1 compilation during that time, you were missing out. So what my friends did was we passed the tape around. Everyone was able to see it that way. But
Word.
from my experience, one of the craziest street ball games that I went to. You can actually YouTube it and Google it. I saw Kobe play live at Rucker Park. It was sold
Oh,
out.
that's awesome.
People were watching the game from their window in the projects. People were on the bridge. People were standing on the bridge watching the game. It was the craziest experience ever, man. Craziest. Crazy.
That's when they was calling him Lord of the Rings. What was that time?
Lord of the Rings, man. It was
Wow.
crazy. You had to know somebody to get in there. And at that time, like, I was tearing up Baby Rucker. So I had a name for myself. So I was able to get in there, and be like courtside and experience it. But just when you get a chance, YouTube Kobe Bryant at the Rucker, you're going to see, like, that was the craziest game I ever been to in my life, man. It's like, that changed the way that I view basketball because, like I said, if you weren't able to make it to the NBA or you weren't able to play in college, just having an opportunity to play street ball, West Fork, Kingdom, Rucker, you were still able to make a name for yourself.
Yeah, and that's one of the main reasons why we decided to create the locker room is because we all know that 9.9 out of 10 kids are not gonna make it to the league, But I also know that basketball did a lot for me, just growing up, just like it did for you, Dave. I'm sure it does a ton for you, Dante, and everybody else. It's just to be able to give them outlets to create careers for themselves outside of actually just playing. So having a globetrotter career, that's pretty dope. Being a coach at St. John's Prep, that's pretty dope. So both Zach and I think the other Zach just logged in too. This was just one of the main things that I really wanted to talk to kids and tell them about. Just because you don't make it as a player, don't mean that you can't have basketball pay you one way or the other. Especially if you love it.
So my reality behind basketball is that realistically it changed my life. Honestly, if I didn't have basketball, I hate to say it, I would probably be dead or in jail because you're a product of your environment. So
right.
a lot of my peers were involved in things that wasn't so positive, and it's nothing where you could judge them based upon it. But basketball was able to remove me from my environment, whether I was playing on the AAU circuit and traveling around the country, or just going away to college and experiencing that
Yeah,
life,
sure.
and able to further my education for free. So that I owe it to basketball in my experience. And a lot of my friends, like you guys, are through basketball. So
right.
Open up a lot of doors. I was able to travel the world. I was able to have friends and everywhere. So basketball, I owe it to basketball. So that's why I do the things that I do, like coach, and still continue to train, and still continue to mentor kids because they have to understand that basketball is a tool, but without books, it really doesn't mean nothing. You're just another name, and time passes you by. So you have to make the best out of your experience. You gotta study hard on a daily basis, get the best grades that you can, so that way when college coach is recruiting you, the first thing he's gonna ask is how's your grades.
Right.
It doesn't matter how well you can shoot, how well you can score, how dominant you are on the court. If you don't have the grades, then it's pretty much useless. So I always tell my student athletes that before we even have a conversation about what you could do on the court, is how you doing in school, how's your attitude,
Absolutely.
what's your
And
long-term goal.
speaking of which, Zach, man, how's your grades? Both Zach Attack, how's your grades?
It's not looking good, but I'm trying to grind to get good grades. Because this is my last attempt.
Yo, listen, Zach. I put this on my website. I don't know if you went through the site, but Brackenville Books, we do offer homework help. So if you ever do have, for real, we do more than just basketball. So if you ever do need help with homework, you let me know, and then we can figure that out. I see you over there working on that form, man. We had a warm weekend this weekend. You was in the park getting right working?
No, because I can't do it.
Well, on another note, are you getting your push-ups in? Because we spoke about push-ups the last time we was on the locker room.
I am.
Ah, man, come on, Zach. You got to get some push-ups up, Zach.
I'm getting my push-ups done.
Come on, man. All right, yo, Zach Hayes. You there, Zach Hayes?
Yeah, I did. I did like 140.
Woo! Zach, you put up 140 of them things?
Yeah.
Ah, man.
But I didn't do any today. I did like some last week, but I didn't do any today.
You know, you got to get them push-ups up every day. That's what's gonna build up your jump shot. That's
I
how
need
Steph Curry
someone
can
to,
shoot from half court.
I do some push-ups on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
All right, that works too. That's good too. Yo, Dante, man, since we got these kids on the line, what are some of the things that you could talk to them about? You know, as far as like ball handling and how they could get their game up. You know, if they can't go outside a little bit.
Yeah,
What?
well, I could only imagine, what the times is, like Buck was saying earlier, I remember when I was in high school, it was just basketball. That's all I did. My advice would be, work on your game individually. If they're not doing organized basketball right now, this is a perfect time to, maybe look at some videos. I'm sure y'all got some tips on ball handling and dribbling, just doing some drills, working on your handle, or, working on your offhand, working on your left,
Right.
getting that right. And definitely fine tuning some things, working on your post moves. I'm a big man, so you got to work on your post moves
Right.
and stuff like that. But it's a perfect time to really get in the lab and do what you got to do. So when you do get back on the court, because you will get back on the court,
Right.
you'll be a better basketball player. And I also wanted to bring up some of the stuff I heard Buck talking about earlier was, about basketball. Now, you can find success in basketball without actually being good at basketball.
Oh, say
Even
that
for
again.
me,
Say that again.
yeah, you can find success in basketball without actually being, good in basketball because, even for me, like I wasn't the best basketball player growing up. I didn't play high school basketball. I had a late start. I walked on to my junior college basketball team at Sullivan County Community College, which was actually the
Okay.
same school me and Buck went to. And my grades wasn't tight either, Zach. Like I was struggled in the beginning, but later on I caught on. I gained some traction and I was able to be eligible to play for my community college. And at the time it worked out for me. I ended up graduating. We won a national championship. We went undefeated, 32-0.
Mm.
So and that gave me the exposure to later go on to get a full scholarship to Hampton University.
Oh,
And yeah, and that kind of set the blueprint for me and gave me a good start and gave me the exposure to play with the Harlem Globetrotters. I've been playing with them for the past 11 years now.
that's big.
And one of the things I realized playing with the Harlem Globetrotters, there's so many different avenues to basketball. Like growing up, I never was an ambassador. I never like thought about doing speaking engagements and stuff like that. But now I've been in a position where I go out and I visit schools and I'm able to deliver a message. We visit schools, we do character education programs. We talk about building character. We talk about anti-bullying and stuff. Which is also a problem that people are having these days. So,
Right.
I owe it all to, opening my mind and, being with the Harlem Globetrotters and realize, like I'm successful in everything around basketball other than just actually playing,
Ah,
So there's so many different ways, they got people in, medical, the people who, there's so many different
Stats.
majors you can take that can
Yeah, there's
help you
people
with
that
basketball.
yeah,
yeah.
basketball is a business. There's people that do stats.
Mhm.
There's people that train. There's people that coach. So, basketball is an open market for whatever you decide to, take on. If it's wherever you put your mind and set your goals, it's attainable. So you
Yeah,
just have to you
definitely.
just have to you just have to see it to believe it.
And that's the truth. You got to see it. Well, So, real quick, I want to switch gears to my main man, Noel Rock, all the way down there in Texas. What's the temperature down there in Texas, man, as far as basketball is concerned? I know, COVID is pretty much taking over a lot of, Houston, because I know it's crazy down there now. But like, what's the basketball temperature out there like?
You mean on a professional or like just like a general level?
Well, I mean, we clearly can't talk about the Houston. James Harden just left.
Right. But I mean, if you're talking about, and if you're talking about just in general, like, I mean,
Oh, I got a better question for you, Rod. How do you feel, right, knowing that James Harden just left Houston and he came to your hometown of Brooklyn, New York, man? How you feel about that?
why would I care about James Harden or the Brooklyn Nets? I'm a Knicks fan. You know that. Why would I? Why would I care?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's because you told me you grew your beard to be like him. I know you're a big fan.
First of all, he grew his beard to look like me. Let's not do that. No, but all jokes aside, Houston is actually a very big sports city. So I mean, the temperature still is what it is. I mean, even though COVID has not allowed people to go to the games, people are still very active in watching the games. You know, they'll still go to like their bars and watch the games. They'll still have their little house parties and watch the games and stuff like that. And some of the parks and stuff like that are still closed, so people are still not able to go out, and some of the gyms are still closed, so they're not able to go out and play. But with the very few parks that are still open, people are still able to go out and still play recreational basketball once in a while. But when COVID first hit, a lot of what the mayor actually instructed the city works to do was to go to all the parks and remove all the rims so nobody could play.
Yeah,
So,
they
but
did
now that they've kind of lifted some of the restrictions, some parks have replaced the rims and stuff like that. So you'll see once in a while, you see some kids out there, but it's not like what it used to be maybe about a year ago.
Yeah, and speaking of which, with that too, Buck, I know growing up we had a lot of free open gyms and clinics and stuff, man. We used to go to 231. We used to go to 50. What? Not 59. What's the other elementary school that we went to?
Impact.
Yeah, Impact. All that. Yo, are
Yeah.
there programs still like that?
There's no programs like that, and I realize that New York, we're behind, because when I travel around the country to other states, California, North Carolina, these kids have more than enough access to facilities, and that's what kind of sets them that much further ahead. We got the parks and things like that, but these guys got, access to facilities where they could get, proper training. They got the right equipment. They can, lift weights and work out, and they got tracks, indoor tracks and pools where they can rehab and things like that. And we have literally nothing. So I'm in the process right now.
I know you a big dog when it comes to nonprofit situations, right? So how does one go about getting a grant to be able to do that? Like how does that work?
Well, you got to think about when you're trying to own a facility, you got to look at the real estate, right? So the cost of the real estate and the property value in New York is that much, more greater. So it makes it that much harder. So you have to incorporate nonprofit with also outside funds. So you have to get an investor to come in that's going to believe in the process. So, there's places that's like, there's facilities that's in New York, but they're not in New York City, like Cooperstown. Cooperstown is like, a little bit further upstate, where it's like 7 indoor courts. They run a lot of the AAU tournaments. They have training facilities, and we definitely need something like that in New York City where, the kids can go to. So
yeah,
I've been thinking about that. I've been trying to figure out, stuff along those lines of, trying to get a facility, where kids can train and rehab and, go through the process the right way. So that way New York City basketball can grow.
Yeah, and I mean we need New York City basketball to grow because, and speaking of which, I've seen this tournament. You ever seen Baby Dunk USA?
Yeah, I've seen Baby Dunk USA.
Yo, Baby Dunk is crazy. I was
Yeah, I know.
Yo, you gotta be some kind of genius to think of something like that. Yo, it's just like more fun. It's crazy. Dante, you ever heard of Baby Dunk?
Never heard of it, but I'm gonna Google it.
Yeah.
What is it?
They just lower the rim basically and have the kids, playing. I don't see that being, giving the kids much exposure. It's fun, it's cute.
It's just a fun tournament.
It's fun, it's cute, but we always try to think of ways to further, the student athletes. That's just something to do on an off time. They're not really, that doesn't help with skill development. No college coach, or recruiter is going to take a kid serious, in that type of program. But it's fun. It's cute. I like it.
He said it's fun. It's cute.
Yeah.
Yo, Zach Attack, man. I see you over there getting you getting in the zone. You watching the game. What you got cracking over there, Zach?
Yeah, I'm just watching the games.
What game you watching?
Well, there's like team the Suns versus the Grizzlies. Watching that, and the Grizzlies are literally leading.
How's my boy John Morant doing? He doing good? He's putting up some numbers?
Yeah, John Morant is he recovered from his injury, Like,
Yeah,
yeah, like he was like very springy in the last game.
yeah, that's what I heard. I
Yeah,
saw he had a little contusion earlier in the game today, but that's good. I'm glad he's back.
John,
Noel,
yeah, John Moran is leading his team in victories. They're leading by 2 right
okay, okay,
now.
keep us updated.
11.7 seconds left. So
Okay,
11.6.
keep us updated throughout the game. Yo, Noel Rock, what's up? What's going on, brother?
I'm not sure who had said it. One of the speakers earlier mentioned success in basketball, but not necessarily having to play to be successful. One thing that a lot of people don't realize is that even with different positions, like on the coaching squad, like occupational therapists and stuff like that, those things are necessary to keep their physical up. But a lot of basketball players actually have mental health therapists that are able to help them through like the pressures of the game, their personal lives, and all that sort of stuff. And that's big money. That's actually huge money for a lot of people that are therapists to these athletes, because these athletes, believe it or not, are also still human beings. You know what I mean? So they have a lot of issues that they're going through their day-to-day basis throughout their lives, especially now that COVID is hit. You can
Yeah,
imagine what Carl Anthony Towns' therapist may
yo,
be
that was
hearing.
crazy.
You know what I mean? The man lost about like 6 or 7 family members within a
Mm-hmm.
year. So yeah, to his point, I'm not sure who said it, but to that point, that yes, there are many levels to success in sports and in basketball. That's not just with the physical. There's also a mental capability to that you can make a lot of money off of, should you choose that path.
It's
And
funny.
it's
It's fun.
important that the kids know that too, because that was what I was bringing up was, growing up, you don't realize that. You just be like, listen, this is basketball, and I'm gonna keep trying to do this, and then you get disappointed, at the end of the day if you don't get the scholarship or you don't make it to that professional level that you inspired to achieve. But that's not going to dictate your future in basketball. You just got to be open minded and do those different routes.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
funny. It's funny you brought up Carl Anthony Towns. He's actually a good friend of mine. I was fortunate enough to do a lot of his camps and things like that. I know his father personally as well, and it got to the point where Carl Anthony Towns was going to quit basketball. That's how serious
wow.
it was. So yeah, he's just going to walk away from the game because, he felt like, he lost his rock. He lost his everything. His mom was a major part of his life, a major part of his growing process. So if it gets to that point where you're willing to walk away from millions, you know how serious it is.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's
Yeah.
that's crazy. Anybody that lost a parent, God bless. I mean, that's a tough thing to do. So real quick, and I see you, Rock. That's why put it out there. I see you, brother. My heart is with you. All right. So real quick, I wanna change gears real quick. Buck, this is a segment of the show where it's called this or that. All right. So I'm gonna ask
Okay.
you a question, and you give me one word answer. All right.
Okay. Let's do it.
Dunk or block?
You said this or that, so that's my response is either this or that, right?
Oh, nah. All right. So basically,
All
I'm gonna give you two answers, and you choose an answer. Either you choose this
Okay.
answer, or you choose that answer. All right.
All
Dunk or block?
right. Dunk.
Handles or defense?
Defense.
Speed or power?
Power.
Basketball IQ or height?
Basketball IQ.
Kobe or LeBron?
Kobe.
MJ's fadeaway or Elijah dream shape?
Elijah Wan. That was crazy.
Oh, that's big. I don't know if we ever had anybody pick that one. Still,
Elijah Wan.
Dame or Kyrie?
Kyrie.
Oh, spin move or crossover?
Crossover.
Euro step or side step three?
Euro step.
We talking sneaker catalog now. Pennies or LeBron?
Pennies. Whew.
Ah, man. Last but not least, street ball or pro ball?
We got to go with the grassroots, man. It started from the streets, man. Harlem
Ah,
Globetrotter, I'm telling you, street ball, man. Without street ball, a lot of these guys wouldn't have the creativity that they have, believe it or not. If you want to take it back, if you want to date it back to history, Harlem Globetrotters started through the black colleges. the black college sport, street ball. You know, the guys that were creative, they weren't, I guess, quote unquote, good enough to make the league, but they're still that much talented. I know some guys that right now we could take them off the street and they could compete in the NBA game. So there's a lot of politics behind basketball. Basketball is a business. You got to understand that. And for myself, I understood that, through the process of playing and going to college, and you realize that it's bigger than you and I. So, you just gotta find your niche. You gotta, have goals to where you want to be, and that's it. And that's it. Grades. You gotta have grades. You can't make it anywhere. They're not gonna take you off the streets, if you don't have grades. So,
Right.
These young student athletes gotta understand that.
There's rules and regulations to everything. All right, Dante, you up next, man. You ready?
All right, let's do it.
All right. Dunk or block?
Dunk.
Handle the defense.
Defense.
Speed or power?
Power.
Oh, basketball IQ or height?
I gotta go with the basketball IQ. You gotta have it.
Jordan or LeBron?
I gotta go with Jordan.
You gotta go with
I gotta
Jordan.
go with the rings. I gotta go with the rings.
Maya Moore or Diana Taurasi?
Say that again.
Maya Moore or Diana Taurasi?
I like Maya Moore.
All right. MJ's fadeaway or Olajuwon's dream shake?
I gotta go with the dream shake because I don't study that too much.
Ooh, you are big man. You didn't say that.
Yeah, I had to.
Steal or block?
A block, of course.
Dame or Kyrie?
I'm gonna go with Kyrie.
Ooh, that's big. All right.
Brooklyn,
Euro
Brooklyn,
step or
Brooklyn.
side step 3?
Euro.
Okay. Pennies or LeBron?
Pennies.
All right. Street ball or pro ball?
That's a tough one. That's a tough one. Yeah, I'm gonna go with street ball also. I'm gonna go with street ball. That's where I came from.
And last but not least, Howard or Hampton?
I gotta go with A2. That's me. I went to Hampton. Yeah,
I was gonna ask you who the real
A2.
HU was.
Yeah.
All right, Noah Rock, man, you up? You ready for this?
Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, come on, man. This part of the segment is called I Wish. I want you to finish the statement. All right, finish the sentence.
Sure thing.
I wish coaches would
Be more personal with each player.
I wish point guards would
Get their teammates more involved.
I wish shooters would
Learn more from a point guard, actually.
I wish big men would
Work on their footwork.
I wish the NCAA would
Pay the players, man.
pay the players. I wish the NBA would
Really address social issues. Like, really, really address them.
and last but not least, I wish I could
I wish I could see the Knicks win a championship before I die. That's for real. I really wish I could see them win a championship before I die. Man.
Zach, bro, what? Well, Zach Attack, man, it's time to come to you. You ready, Zach? You ready, Zach?
Huh?
Yeah.
All right. MJ's fadeaway or Olajuwon dream shake?
I gotta go with the dream shake.
Dang, no love for MJ out here. Steal or block?
Block.
Dame or Kyrie?
So I'm a shooter, so I'm gonna go with Dame.
Oh, wait. He just said Kyrie can't shoot on the low. I ain't gonna hold you. Spin move or crossover?
Crossover.
Euro step or side step 3?
Sidestep 3.
I don't know if you're too young for this next question, but I'm gonna ask anyway. Footwear, pennies or LeBron?
Pennies.
Oh, that a boy. You being raised up in a good basketball in a good basketball home there. I love that. Magic or Bird?
Come on
That's a
now.
hard one. That's a very hard one.
Guys, before your time.
I'm gonna go with Larry.
Really? All right. So you are a shooter. Okay. All right.
Bro, I see you. I see you. I'm sorry.
Yo, Rob, you about to. And last but not least, Zach, street ball or pro ball?
Come through the screen.
Huh?
Last but not least, street ball or pro ball?
Street ball.
All right. Zach Hayes, you there, Zach Hayes?
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right, Zach, you ready for this one?
Yeah.
Did I go through these questions with you before? No.
I don't think so.
All right, cool. Here we go. MJ's fadeaway or the dream shape?
MJ's fadeaway.
Steal or block?
Block.
Dame or Kyrie?
Dame.
Spin move or crossover?
Spin move.
Euro step or side step 3?
Side step 3.
Pennies or LeBrons?
LeBron's.
Magic or Bird?
I love a talent show. Magic.
Mm.
Oh, wait, you said you love
I
what?
don't want with Magic because like Rock is literally like
Magic.
he's like what? How did you pick him?
All right, and last but not least, street ball or pro ball?
Street ball.
That a boy. All right, yo, Buck, I'm gonna swing this around to you. All right, you ready?
Let's do it.
I wish coaches would.
Study the game a little bit more, you know.
I wish point guards would.
Analyze the game from every position, because a point guard, you're supposed to be able to understand where all 5 guys are on the court at all times.
I wish shooters would.
Follow their shot.
I wish
You know,
big men would.
I wish big men would focus more on being in the paint and stop stepping out and shooting threes. That changed the whole dynamics of the game. Everyone's not a shooter, you know.
Okay. I wish my mom would.
I wish my mom would forgive me for all the things I put her through growing up.
That might have been one of the other answers, man.
Yeah.
I wish the NAA would.
I would go with the other gentleman. I wish they would address the social issues and not leave it along the lines of the players, because the coaches need to step in and say something. You know, the team owners, you know, that's important. You know, I mean, they're at the top of the totem pole. They got to step up and say something. You know, just don't leave it to the players to address everything. So
I wish the WNBA would.
I wish the WNBA would. That's a tough one. I wish the I got some. I wish the WNBA would get more exposure, like, you know, and pay the players a little bit more. A lot of the WNBA players get a lot of their money from playing overseas. You know, when they come to the WNBA, their salary is so slim to none. It's like it's no point in playing. They just playing to get their name out there and get exposure.
Yeah, word. And last but not least, I wish I could.
I wish I could start my career over with the knowledge that I had today. You know, I would actually take, you know, school a little bit more serious. You know, I had the work ethic that was always there. I always worked on my game. I always studied, you know, players and things like that. But I would definitely take, you know, the books a little bit more serious, you know, so I could be able to get to the, you know, the next level.
I hear you. All right, and Dante, we're gonna wrap it up with you. All right.
All right.
Coaches would.
Wish coaches would not be so hard on the players.
Ooh. I wish point guards would.
Play the game inside out.
Okay. I wish shooters would.
Not force a shot. You know, shoot your open shots only, and not, you know, force them up like Buck used to do.
I wish big men would. I wish big men would.
I guess be more dominant. Remember, like back in the day when Shaq and, you know, David Robinson, they was, you know, dominant forces. You know, so I think I want to see that come back into fruition and like Buck said, not be so much of an outside force when you can dominate. Like the most dominant player is Shaq. By
Yeah,
far.
I actually miss when the
I
big men
think we lost that.
used to kill.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, we
I
lost that.
actually used to miss that. And more important than the big men killing was actually I used to like watching big men get killed. So like what was like when Shaq used to just violate Sabonis for no reason.
Mhm.
Mm.
Violate Yao Ming. You know what I'm saying? Like I used to really love
Deshaun Bradley.
Mhm.
the
Put him
Eric
in the trunk.
Bledsoes of the world. I remember he used to just violate those dudes for no reason.
Right.
All right.
Mhm.
Yo, so Dante, thank you, man. Buck, thank you. Rock, everybody.
Yeah.
Real quick, I want to change gears. I want to talk about so this is the first time since 1982 that both Duke and UNC have been unranked, man. What's going on?
So I think what's going on is that college coaches at that level is smart. They understand that the recruitment process has changed. So I think that a lot of the players that they were going to bring in at this state of what's going on in society, I think they holding off on that. That's what it looks like because there's a lot of good players that reclass that said, you know what, I'm not going to go straight to college now. I'm going to take the year off and train and things like that. So a lot of the top 100 recruits didn't even go to college, believe it or not.
Wow, that's crazy. I definitely was not expecting that answer. What you think,
Yeah.
Dante?
I don't know. I haven't looked too much into it, but judging by his answer, maybe people looking at a lot of, what like LaMelo, like Jello did, like what he did,
That's true.
going overseas and stuff like that. So, maybe people are looking for more opportunities to make money now rather
Yeah.
than going to college.
Man, that's bugged out. I thought about, them going to college, I mean, making the money as opposed to going to college, but I didn't think that them taking a year off would be an option due to COVID. I didn't even think about that. I just thought they just sucked this year. So that's definitely crazy that, that you open our eyes to that. That's big. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, about 40 of the top 100 kids either stayed back or they're in prep school situations. And the way that the college works is that you have you got 5 years of eligibility to play floor. So once you enter college, your clock starts to tick. So these
Yeah.
kids realize that COVID, hey, we may never play, we may never participate this year. So why not take the year off, get bigger, stronger, faster, work on my game, so that way it's more realistically that I can do 1 year and be done and move on to the NBA. So it's a lot of impact, in that area.
Yeah. Word, that's crazy. So what can we and bringing it home back to Queens, what can we expect from Queens Day 2021 this year?
Queens Day 2021, a lot more sponsors. We're looking to actually take this blueprint on the road. So we're going to try to replicate and do it in different states and things like that. What I was actually planning was a black college tour. So I had like 7 or 8 schools that was interested in the project, and they were going to sponsor and things like that. So COVID kind of slowed everything down. So that the Queens Week event that that Brackenville was a part of, this was our 10th year. This was our 10th annual. So I started Queens Week the first year I graduated college. I was like, what can I do to give back to my community? And it's been growing since then. Think about 10 years strong. So
That's big.
yeah.
That's big. That's big.
Yeah.
Yo, Rock,
So
you said you had something to say there?
Wait, say that one more time. You were chopping up.
Oh no, I thought Buck had something to say.
yeah. So what Queens? Yeah. So Queens Week is basically was basically is a week of basketball events. So it's not just the tournament itself. So what we did during the week was also skill development, where we had 100 kids. They're able to come to the camp and participate for free. Some of the sponsors we had in the past was New York Knicks. We had Powerade. We had Dunkin' Donuts. We had Vitamin Water. So they would, sponsor, and we were able to pay, coaches and trainers to come in. So as as the event grew over the years, we had local politicians involved. We had LL Cool J involved. We had NBA players that came out and participated. So, yeah, it's just been growing. So, we want to take it to the next level by taking it to different communities where they can benefit from it as well.
Yo, Dave, Buck, that's a wonderful thing that you're doing out there in Queens. It's a really dope way to
Appreciate
give
it.
back to the neighborhood, and it's really cool
Appreciate it.
because you are the change that you want to see in the world, man. So I just want to give you a round of applause real quick for just being the person that you are.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
There
Appreciate
you
it.
go, there
We
you
came
go.
a long way. We came a long way, man. We came a long way. You know that.
Yeah, word. So I'm gonna let the young guys close this out today. Yo, Zach Attack, you was going crazy over there. What you just see, man?
I just saw a posterizer. So
You just
like
saw a poster? Who's on the poster?
I'm in this next game. It's Milwaukee versus Brooklyn, and James Harden is on the Brooklyn.
Yeah, so who's on the poster though? I want to know who's on the poster.
So it was DeAndre.
Who dunked? Who caught the dunk? Giannis caught the dunk?
Nah, it was DeAndre did the dunk.
Okay. I need to know if I had to go and pick up the next Slam magazine next month, man. I still collect those things.
Yeah.
Word. So yo, listen, as we close out, man, Brackenville Books, we are a published company. I would like to put a shameless plug in of my my own novel, Castro and Sap, The Immaculate Plan to Earn Some Burn. If you guys have kids, please, don't forget to dribble on over to brackenvillebooks.com and collect four of all three of my books. The first one is Days to Jump Shot. Second one is The Backboard is a Rectangle, where I explain shapes and use them to explain basketball. And the third is Castro and Sap, The Immaculate Plan to Earn Some Burn. So if you do have time, please, guys, dribble on over to brackenvillebooks.com and pick up those books so we can keep feeding our kids this basketball knowledge, man. I am thankful for everybody that came on the call tonight. Once again, my name is Coach PJ of Brackenville Books, and I hope to see everybody next week. Zach, get your push-ups, Zach. Anybody else anything to say before we close out?
Good night.